let's go ahead and look at your jobs for today. So we are on our home page. We are looking at our assignments, and today is Friday, March 26th. Looking at our jobs, we have cohort A, B, and C for today. We can see with cohort A, all you guys have for Zooms today are going to be your daily Zoom and optional office hours. Cohort B, you can come to office hours 1:30 to 2:30. And then cohort C, you have your daily Zoom 12:30. You also have Spanish at 10:10 this morning, and then office hours in the afternoon 1:30 to 2:30. You guys all have the same job, so let's go ahead and look at our jobs for today. So first things first, we are going to be talking about figurative language. We've talked about similes, metaphors, and now idioms, and so we are going to continue that conversation into today's assignment. So you are going to sort similes and metaphors. Remember, similes and metaphors, they both make comparisons, but similes use the words like or as. And so if you see like or as in a phrase, there is 99.9% chance that it is a simile. It is a simile. So you would go ahead and you would click it and drag it to the simile. All right, slide number 2, we are still continuing talking about idioms. So you're going to have the meaning of the idiom up here, and you are going to click and drag the example of the idiom that best matches the meaning for each of these. For example, it will be very expensive. My friends, yesterday in Zoom, we talked about an arm and a leg, costing an arm and a leg. It literally does not cost an arm and a leg, but that's just a way of saying something's very expensive. So that will cost an arm and a leg. It will be very expensive. Right? And then after your figurative language job, you have your Friday journal. It is Flashback Friday. For this Flashback Friday, you are going to be writing 5 to 6 sentences about a time you learned how to do something new. So here are some examples. Maybe you learned how to cook something. So here's like a quesadilla. Maybe you learned how to cook some eggs in the morning. Maybe you learned how to skateboard. And always, all of us, we have learned to type, especially this past year. We've learned a lot about typing. So you're going to go ahead 5 to 6 sentences. Here on the right hand side, we have sentence frames and starters. Remember, this is not required to use, but if you'd like to, it is made available. Then we have a fraction quick check. And for this fraction quick check, we are still going to be talking about fractions greater than 1. And so your first 2 questions are going to be a true false. 0 over 3 equals 1 whole, and 2 over 2 equals 1 whole. You're going to tell me true or false for each. And then you're going to recognize each shape as 1 whole. And you are going to use that information to come up with a fraction with both of the shapes provided. So you're going to see that you have 3 holes here, you have 4 holes, 3 holes, 3 holes, 5 holes, and you are going to write the fraction that represents this visual. Then finally, here at the bottom, you're going to have a question. My mom has 2 pi split into fourths. Write a fraction greater than 1 to show the parts. I highly recommend drawing a picture because that will be extremely helpful when doing this job. Then you have your spelling job. Again, we are talking about suffixes, what happens when we have words ending in Y. And to help us out for today's job, we have a couple of rules that are up here that you can please reference when completing your assignments. I recommend zooming in, and also the audio will be read aloud to you for the directions. So keep that in mind. You are going to go through though, and based off these rules here, you are going to spell the word correctly in the blue box provided. Then you have a spring poem. We've talked about acrostic poems before. Acrostic poems are when you have a word and you use each letter of that word to then create a poem. And so Here we have our directions for this job. It says this is an acrostic poem, meaning that for each letter spring, you will write a short phrase that begins with each of the letters. For example, S can stand for spring forward in time, right? Because in springtime, we spring forward an hour. Or sprouting plants everywhere, right? Plants are really starting to sprout and grow and develop during this time. So keep that in mind while you are going through. Think of things that you can use for each of these letters. Then we have our typed weekly journal prompt. For your typed response, you are going to be doing Thursday's journal prompt. Thursday, we went ahead and we wrote our thoughts about breakfast versus dinner. We are persuading, we're writing an opinion, right? And so you're going to use descriptive details to support your claim and be sure to write at least 5 to 6 sentences. All right. And then after your typed journal prompt, we have SS Grin. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Remember, if you go ahead and click on the link, it should take you automatically where you need to be. You just put in your username or password, but it should already have it auto-filled for you guys. Press login and you can play. And just a reminder, your job is to do a combined total of 60 minutes between yesterday and today. So if you only played 20 minutes yesterday, please play 40 for today. If you played 30 yesterday, please play 30 today, and so on. Then for your review, you have your literacy review job. We are going to go ahead. We are going to complete these 2 slides here. You can see on slide 1 right away, we see this giant red X. That's because this question, we haven't necessarily gone over everything in this question, so I want you to go ahead and cross it out because I just don't feel that it's appropriate for us to do yet because we haven't finished talking about figures of speech. All right, but you're going to go ahead, you're going to go through and you're going to answer these questions. Audio is provided throughout. They give you very clear directions, and so please pay attention to these directions because they're going to ask you for something specific in each. All right, and then slide number 2, down at the bottom, it asks you on a new slide to write a paragraph explaining what a pizza is to someone who has never seen or tasted one. So I went ahead, I already made you that slide, and so your job is to now go ahead in a paragraph explain what pizza is like to someone who's never seen it or tasted it before. All right. And that will be it for your jobs for today. Again, Cohort A, you have daily Zoom 12:30. Cohort C, you also have your daily Zoom at 12:30, and you also have Spanish 10:10. Cohort C, I told you yesterday, and I've already sent out messages to families this week. That material pickup is today. Please come by 12 to 3 because that will be the best time where all of our friends from Cohort B have already left. So please, please, please come 12 to 3. All right, D1, that is going to be it for our day today. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye, D1.